I proceeded to gerunds, since Nemesis was catching on so quickly. A gerund, I said, is made up of a verb plus an ing ending, just like a participle. But the gerund has a different function in the sentence, as a subject, object, or predicate nominative. So don't mistake it for a participle, which again functions only as a modifier. I then showed Nemesis some examples. First, a gerundive verbal phrase used as the subject of the sentence. Ending the strike, I said, tells what the sentence is about, and so is the subject of the sentence. Then I gave an example of a gerundive verbal phrase that was an object of a preposition. You see, old boy, I continued, knowing so much is the object of the preposition from. It answers the question, from what does he get his confidence? From knowing so much. Finally, I showed him an example of a gerundive verbal phrase that functioned as a predicate nominative. Easy enough to see, I added, because the phrase running the race renames the subject goal and follows a state of being verb was. At that point, I gave Nemesis another quiz on verbal phrases, this one to test his knowledge of gerunds. See if you can do as well as he did by naming the gerunds and the phrases they introduce, and by telling how those phrases are used in the sentence, as subjects, objects, or predicate nominatives. Here are the answers. After I told Nemesis that he'd made a perfect score, I mentioned that although verbals often introduce an entire phrase, they can, of course, stand alone. Even so, they still function as subjects, as the first sentence at the top shows, as objects, as the second sentence illustrates, as predicate nominatives, as the third exemplifies, and modifiers, as the last shows. Now, I know we've covered quite a bit here, so let's stop the program at this point so you can review verbals and verbal phrases, either by yourself or with your teacher.